All right, guys, so we're going to go over 5 different pins, 5 different side controls. And this is something that everybody should know, everybody should understand. Is it limited to these 5 pins? No. Is there different ways to control somebody and stay on top in side control? Absolutely. But these are 5 things that my academy I like to go over, and I like to make it to where the fundamentals class is something we go over a lot, something you need to know, not only by the number and what side control it is, but there's also so many different attacks that happen. What attacks you can do in that side control, what different transitions, where your pressure is coming from. So to give you an example, and it'll make more sense right now, I'm not going to usually be cross body on a much bigger opponent. And this happens all the time. I have students come up to me, they say, well, you know, I passed his guard, but he just rolled me like a rag doll. And well, that attests to a couple things. You need to be able to drop your weight, understand where to distribute your weight. That's a huge thing. Distributing your weight comes with time, comes with effort. That's why people who've grappled before they did jiu-jitsu, if they did judo or if they wrestle, they understand weight distribution just a little bit better, so it's easier to drop your weight, you know. And that's a big thing. So if you're having a really hard time in cross body, pin number 1 or pin number 2, holding a much stronger opponent down, I would suggest going to pin number 5, going to north-south, where that you're not cross-body, them being a little bit stronger isn't going to be as valuable to them, and dropping your weight and smothering them and working on attacks without digging right into their strength, it's a little bit easier. So let me go over that. So I have my partner on his back. However I passed, or if I got gifted the position, I'm going to start off into pin number 1. So I control the head. My elbow is inside my knee, and we talked about that before. That's stopping him from framing, right? If I'm real wide like this, he can push off the hip. So I'm inside with good shoulder pressure. Now this hand is blocking the hip. My whole arm is here. I can make a grip on the ankle, I can grab on the pant, but this arm is blocking the hip, and what that's doing is stopping his guard from retaining. I don't want him to retain his guard, right? That shin and that knee, it's very difficult for him to come in now. This is a great way to control somebody if I just pass their guard. I just passed, I want to get my points, I want to slow them down. I want my chest on his chest, good shoulder pressure, and block the hip. There isn't a whole lot of submissions here, but I'm on my toes, I'm driving. It doesn't really matter where my head lays here because I need to stay by his shoulder or by my hand, right? Now, good way to control somebody, not so many submissions here. I'm going to move on. Now to pin number 2, I collect my underhook. I'm going to lock my gable grip. So I'm no thumbs. I'm a nice good grip. Same thing, this elbow is inside. And I'm going to keep solid shoulder pressure. Obviously you're in the gym or you're drilling, you're not putting as much shoulder pressure. But if I get to this position and I'm at a tournament, I'm definitely making him look the other way. This is pin number 2. Now our third one, and you guys can tell from this pin, there's a lot of attacks on the arms, I have chokes. I can attack a little bit more here because I have the underhook, I have more control. When I have that underhook, when I'm in top position, I'm winning that underhook battle, I'm staying heavy, I'm dropping my weight, and that's what I want. Now number 3, I'm gonna sit right into Kesa-Gatame. Grab the shoulder. This comes back and I grab the elbow. Now I'm going to sit my hip right in here. Notice, I have this underhook. I'm not going to a headlock. I'm keeping this underhook so that he's not coming up to his knees. He's not trying to take my back. Another thing is a lot of people sit to this, and it's a good way to control somebody, but they sit very low by the hip. It's very important to be heavy. Look at, I'm turning my hip inside the armpit. I'm staying heavy, I'm keeping the underhook, I'm keeping this elbow tight. I don't hold it like this. Right here he can push, he has access to that hand. I want this overhook and I want to keep my wing tight to my body. My legs are never together. They're nice and wide, so I can drive good weight and have control of the arm. This is pin number 3, or Kesa-Gatame. Now, to transition into pin number 4, reverse Kesa-Gatame. Pick up the elbow, swing my hip in. Now, instead of going under the head, I'm going to go under the arm. I like to grab the belt, and this arm blocks the hip. Notice I have his hip still framed on my hip, or I have his arm still framed on my hip. Now I'm going to open my legs towards his legs, right in here. So very similar to pin number 3. This is reverse Kesa-Gatame. My legs are open. I scoot. A lot of times I push the hip away and I scoot into the armpit. Make sure to keep your head down. I've seen a lot of people lose this position because their head is up and he clubs you and your balance breaks. Keep your head down. My legs are wide so that I can base off, I can post, I can attack the Kimura, I can attack chokes here, but I also have a lot of the torso, sneaky mount, right? There's a lot I can do. I can open up the lapels. This is pin number 4, or reverse Kesa-Gatame. And the last one is something that you should be attacking from a lot. If you're a smaller opponent or a smaller competitor or a smaller practitioner, pin number 5 works really well. I block the hip so he can't follow me. Swing your head down and build back up to your knees. You want to keep your elbow in tight. Your chest is on his chest. If you can, you cover the head or keep his head centered. From north-south, it's okay to sprawl a leg out or drop to a hip. But the big thing is you want to run one way. You want to keep tight. You usually go to north-south with one under and one over. That's usually how you'll be in north-south. If I do one or the other, it's because I have a technique already set. But right in here, this is north-south or pin number 5. Let me run right through them again. First one, control the head, knees up high, block the hip. This is pin number 1. Now, when I want to attack a little bit more and drive more pressure, under the arm, lock your hands, head down. This is pin number 2. Same thing, this elbow is inside the knee. If I can control the head, I'm usually going to be controlling the transitions. I control the elbow. Open up your legs. His wrist should be tucked right in my armpit. Keeping very heavy here, I'm engaging my hip. Right, so my head is down, turn my hip in. This is pin number 3, or Kesa-Gatame. Swing open. Under the arm. What this does is this sets me up for success later. I'm under the shoulder so that the Kimura is readily available. If I end up going to north-south, I'm prepared by controlling that arm. This underhook now switches and I block the hip. Now once I drop my hip to the mat, I don't want him to be able to use that arm. So I scoop, and I keep very good pressure here. So now his arm is trapped. I have all of this torso to work with. I can go to mount. I can attack the wrist or the Kimura. This is pin number 4, or reverse Kesa-Gatame. And last one for our pins is we're going to go pin number 5, or north-south. Right? So once I'm here, I'll block the hip, keep my head down. Now I'm going to swing up, and I build. Keeping my elbows in, I stay very tight. Those are the 5 side controls, easy for you to drill, easy for you to remember the names. Hope it helps.